I'm going to talk about changes with waste and recycling due to the COVID-19 pandemic on a state and federal level. This last year, there was a significant increase in waste and recycling products such as disposable masks, face shields, gloves, disinfecting wipes, plastic bottles for things like hand sanitizer, paper bags for PPE, and even plastic bags for things like your takeout food. In Oklahoma, one of the known waste and recycling companies, which is Waste Management, states on their website that management of waste that is suspected or known to contain or be contaminated with COVID-19 does not require special precautions beyond those that are already used to protect workers from materials they encounter during their routine waste management job task. With that said, there is still the risk of further spread of the virus without the proper handling of waste and recycling materials. The virus is thought to live on some surfaces for up to 5 days. It is believed to live on silicone for 5 days, on plastic for 3, and up to 24 hours on cardboard and disposable gowns that the hospital uses. These are all common products that go through our waste and recycling centers daily. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and the Environmental Protection Agency all echo this information regarding handling of waste and recycling during the pandemic. All sources citing that there is not any evidence to further suggest action needed on waste and recycling of substances with potential exposure to the virus. That is outside of the proper PPE, which is puncture-resistant gloves, face and eye protection as a preventative measure against potential exposure. On a state level, I contacted the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality. I spoke with Bruce, who is over recycling, and Amber, who is over solid waste compliance and enforcement. Both Bruce and Amber expressed no changes were made on the state or the federal level. However, both did cite that protocols for employees were the biggest change that they noticed since the beginning of the pandemic. Like many jobs during the pandemic, some things did go virtual for the safety of their employees. Both Amber and Bruce said that a few things were common that went from in-person to virtual. Things like site visits for the waste fields or recycling sites and meetings both went to virtual. And those employees handling waste and recycling were all required to wear the PPE. Despite the longevity of the virus living on surfaces, the biggest risk of transmission of the virus is person to person. This is why virtual site visits and online meetings have been such an important part of keeping waste and recycling employees safe during the pandemic. As a result of the lockdown across the world during the virus, the demand for oil dropped, and so did the prices, which made manufacturing of virgin plastics from fossil fuels less expensive than recycling. Additionally, the use of disposable plastics for PPE during the pandemic has contributed to the increase of plastic pollution. Taking into consideration the standard use of disposable face masks per day during the pandemic, that could result in a monthly global consumption of waste of 129 billion face masks and 65 billion of disposable gloves. The additional waste is stressing the already stressed waste management system, and it's ultimately prioritizing human health over environmental health. In conclusion, despite the lack of federal and state policy changes on waste and recycling, practices have been changed due to COVID-19, and the increase of waste and the decrease of recycling have all negatively affected our waste and recycling system and ultimately the environment.